Welcome to Health Matters. I'm Kathy Andrews. Today we're going to talk about nutrition. What we put in our body, it matters, folks. We're going to talk about what's good for you and what's bad for you, and how you can make conscious decisions about what you eat. My guests are Princetta Jones. She is the medical nutritionist and provider specialist for Family Health Centers. She is also a former faculty member at South Carolina State University, nutrition consultant for the University of South Carolina Cancer Prevention Program. She's also a former consultant for Head Start and a former nutritionist for Clemson University Extension Program. And we also have with us Dr. Patricia Riddle. She is Chief Medical Director at Family Health Centers. She specializes in family medicine, including weight management. She's a graduate of Eastern Virginia Medical Family Practice Program. She's also done postgraduate work at Yale University in internal medicine and Downstate Medical Center, where she did postgraduate work in pathology. So we've got some heavy hitters in here who can tell us what's right and what's wrong about what we eat today, folks. So thank you so much for joining us for Health Matters today, Dr. Riddle and Miss Jones. Well, first question. What are we doing wrong? What are we doing wrong? Because South Carolina in particular has high rates of strokes, heart disease, diabetes, high cholesterol, and there's a correlation between what we eat and our health, right? So,
Yes. Exactly.
So what are we doing wrong?
What we're doing wrong, like I always use the philosophy to individuals in society today, we like a lot of things that are fast, friendly, and free due to our time schedule, our work schedule. And so when that comes into play, that's when we're not looking at portion sizes, we're not reading and understanding the food labels correctly, and then we're not cooking as much. And definitely we're doing a lack of exercise due to technology.
You know, I read that when I was researching this show, because I remember back in the day when I grew up, and I'm not going to say what year, but back in the day, my folks, they raised their own animals, and we were in the garden, and we ate a lot of bad food. We ate fried chicken, we ate the pork, we ate the grits, the rice, but we moved and we didn't eat these large portions. You go into these restaurants now, they give you huge portions, and you're going to get 1,800 calories in one sitting. So I think that is a major problem. But in fast foods, my nieces and nephews, when they whine, they get chicken McNuggets and French fries. How do you tell a 6-year-old or a 12-year-old, you're tired from working all day, you got to go home, and he whines for chicken McNuggets and French fries? What do you say to him?
Well, what you would say to him is, because you're the parent, and I'm emphasizing this now with my parent, that they need to understand you have to draw a line and be comfortable with saying no. That's number one. But if you just have to be in and cannot say no, I always recommend to individuals, now we have the newer restaurant here, Chick-fil-A, go for the options of the grilled chicken nuggets without all the bread on it, and maybe add a side salad or opt with the child to get the fruit instead of the fries. And maybe next time you may want to get them the grilled chicken nuggets and the fries with no salt or something on it.
So you just sort of combine the things. You
Yes.
grill, like, okay.
You're balancing.
You're balancing it. But Dr. Riddle, tell me this. For people who have already reached that point, they're having a problem. They come into your office and they have a weight issue and they feel hopeless. What do you tell the person who walks into your office and says, listen, I can't resist the French fries. I can't resist the Coca-Cola. You know, I love fried chicken. I love the pork. I mean, I was raised like that. And when they go home to grandma's house or mama's house, what is mama going to fix some ribs? People are enabling them. So what do you tell people when they walk into your office and they want to lose weight?
Well, first I interview that person, whether it's a male or female, and whether they have medical issues or they just want to lose weight. First, you have to find out where they stand at this point. What are they eating now? What are their goals? Do they exercise? Because you have to know where they are so you can cater for them in a program that is going to be medically controlled or medical intervention is going to take place. So a lot of times people do not know that the food that they're eating are bad food for them because they're comfort food. So they like all that. But you can say, okay, this is what you're eating now. Why don't we start changing a little bit? Change a little bit at a time, because to have somebody just change totally, it will be a shock to them mentally, psychologically, and feel good type of thing. They actually will feel that it's almost impossible for them to do that. So you have to take a little bit at a time. Take away. Do you like sugary drinks? Yes. Let's do a substitute. Let's add stevia to your sweet taste and use that. Now, how much bread do you like? Do you like white bread or you like brown bread? They may say white bread. Why don't we start trying some brown bread? Because the brown bread has a little bit more fiber, and fiber is good for you.
So baby steps.
So baby steps, because when somebody is almost an addiction to what they're already eating, so we take baby step. Once we get them out little by little, then we can add more things that they can actually do in a practical way. And it takes really, in my situation, as far as my experience, it only takes about 3 or 4 weeks to get somebody out of that sort of addiction of the bad food.
And so they start feeling better.
They
and
start feeling better.
exercising.
And when they start losing some weight, they said, really, I can do it. They start exercising more. I always tell them, you need to walk. This is, God gave you 2 feet. You need to walk. And once they start doing that, they just feel like, well, it's achievable. So you don't really get them initially and said you have to lose so many pounds and whatever. That's not realistic.
Well, what if they say, I can't walk? My knees are I'm having pain in my knees.
Well,
my
we
hip.
have to look at another step. I find somebody who are very obese, if they start losing some weight, we start taking out some of the toxic food, like sugary stuff. It causes a lot of inflammation. Some of that is what's called inflammation. I've had patients who have lupus, and they come in, and once I take the sugar out, then they started feeling that their joints not as sore. So sometimes we can just do that for them. Once they start eating better, they're going to feel better, and they're going to feel like they can walk.
Eat better, feel better.
Exactly.
Well, we've got to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about organic food and what we can eat in the grocery store. And if it's green, is it good? We'll be right back.
Blood pressure is the force of blood vessels as blood flows through them. This pressure naturally rises and falls during the day, but when it is constantly too high, it is considered high blood pressure. High blood pressure is a silent killer that sometimes has little to no symptoms, so you may not be aware that it's damaging your arteries, heart, and other organs. Let the Family Health Center help you monitor and control your blood pressure by calling 803-531-6900 to schedule an appointment.
If you own or operate a business and would like to communicate your message to listeners throughout the Orangeburg community, WSSB would like to help you make that happen. Your business can become a WSSB underwriter. We will help you craft an effective marketing message to improve your brand awareness and demonstrate your commitment to the community. Packages are available at all investment levels. For more information, contact Yasmin Marshall at 803-813-1123.
Hi, this is former Miss South Carolina State University Sadia Robinson, and you're listening to WSSB 90.3 FM.
Welcome back. I'm Kathy Andrews, and welcome to Health Matters. We have with us today Dr. Patricia Riddle and Miss Princetta Jones with Family Health Centers. Now we're going to talk about the confusion with what to eat. When I go in the grocery store, sometimes I'm confused. You've got all these supplements. You've got, these lean cuisines, and I'm looking for something fast, but I don't want it processed, and I'm looking for something healthy. But then I think about, I know a man who is a meat inspector now, and he told me, he said, Kathy, when I go to the factories or the slaughterhouse, those chickens are raised in a matter of days or weeks. They're ready for slaughter. Now, I grew up on a farm. I know it takes a while for a chicken to become mature. So they're pumping the chicken and the pork and all the meat with hormones and antibiotics. And those hormones and antibiotics are going into our bodies, especially here in South Carolina, where we believe that you have to have some kind of meat on the table. And so my question is, what's a healthy meal? Now, I know we can eat meat, but I'm sure it must be in moderation. But I'm trying to become a vegetarian myself. It's hard because I grew up in a Southern family and they think you're weird when you go home and you don't eat meat. But tell me, what can we eat that's healthy for us when we can't really trust the food that's being raised, the meat?
Well, from my perspective as a nutritionist, I would recommend a vegetarian diet if you are not, how should I say this, if you are not over consuming the high fatty items of it, because a lot of people have a misconception between a vegan and a vegetarian. When you're a vegetarian, it's a lot of different aspects of it where you could do the eggs, or you may just do the fish and the chicken. In other words, or maybe you would do some turkey if you're a semi-vegetarian. And what's been happening, a lot of individuals have actually been gaining weight. I have worked with some individuals 300 pounds and say they are vegetarians, because what I have to explain to them, vegetarian does not mean it's necessarily fat-free or calorie-free. But if you're going to do a true vegetarian diet or a vegan diet, then of course you would have more of plant-based. Your plate would be more your dark green leafy vegetables, your healthier fruits, not as high in sugars, and then your meat would be limited to like 3 to 4 ounces, which is the same as a deck of cards. Not the outside of the palm of your hand, but like in the center. And most individuals, we shouldn't have meat over twice a day, whether you are vegetarian or not.
So is meat bad for you?
No, I wouldn't say meat is bad for you. The problem with our society, we overeat everything. And you have to learn how to select healthier whole foods that do not have all the chemicals, the sulfites, the nitrites, and all of that. And those items sometimes cost a little more for general population that we serve. But like I always tell everybody, for a quality of life, you would want to make that investment.
Dr. Riddle?
As far as vegetarianism, I have a lot of people I've surrounded with, my religion, most people are vegetarian. And they have done studies at the Loma Linda Hospital in California. And you have surgeons working up until age 90. And they're vegetarian. They're strong. They're healthy. They do not have any comorbidities like high blood pressure and diabetes. Now, getting back to the fact that somebody who said they're vegetarian, sometimes some people load up on the starch to fulfill where the meat is lacking. And these are the people who are gaining weight. However, if you do a plant-based diet with grains like red beans, and vegetables, you will actually able to have enough of your protein, because you get protein from your vegetables. And we see not only in religion where people are vegetarian, a lot of Indian people, a lot of different society are vegetarian, and the kids from day one they're born, they're vegetarian because they do not have any meats or anything in their diet. So I think vegetarian diet can ward off a lot of the diseases that we have, especially eating, red meats and all that. I think a vegetarian plant-based diet is a very good diet to incorporate with your everyday living. And I think a lot of people who have seen become vegetarian, they say they're feeling much better, they're stronger, and they don't have a lot of the medical problems that we do see today.
So you're saying I got to give up my pasta?
No, you can actually there's a lot of pastas out there, even whole wheat pastas. Now they even have pasta that made from vegetable. If you can do pasta zero, that you can find at Walmart, you can make a very good stir fry. They're using a lot of that. They have pasta that's made from quinoa and all that, and you get the fiber in that, and you get also the protein. Quinoa has 7 grams of protein.
Well, I've gotten into arguments with people who say vegetarians don't get enough protein because you need that meat for protein.
No, you get enough. You can get your beans, have very high in proteins, and your veg, and you combine this, a combination of food that's going to let you be satisfied.
So no pizza and ice cream?
Well, if you're a vegetarian, actually, you can have whole wheat to make the dough.
So
And
I've
then
got to
you
make it
can-
myself.
and
I
you-
can't go to the
and
Pizza Hut and
you
get
can
it.
make it with vegetables. I can show you a good recipe that make it with vegetables.
No, you would actually, yeah, you would have to actually make it like
Yeah.
Dr. Ritter stated, or either you're going to have to go in the vegan vegetarian section
Yeah.
in the store. If you want ice cream, a good, excellent one is called Tofutti.
Yeah.
With no dairy, no animal
Tofutti?
product. Tofutti. It tastes better than regular
on
ice
now.
cream
And it's
sandwiches.
made from tofu.
Food.
Yes.
Now, people are going to be listening to this. Now, they're talking a lot of, I'm going to eat tofu. We're in South Carolina. Now,
Well,
you
it
know,
become-
people here, they like ice cream and pizza and fried chicken and grits and rice and mashed potatoes with gravy and ribs. So how do you change the culture?
Little by little.
Little by little.
It's a cultural thing that we have, and once you deviate a little bit, just a little by little, just like a striptease dance, a little by little, they will get converted.
What did you say? A strip dancer, just like a strip dancer.
Striptease.
All right, y'all didn't see that. Y'all didn't
And
see it. She
then
pulled up a
sometimes you
dress a
have
little
to
bit.
substitute because, like, a person who's used to only pork ribs, you try to introduce them to beef ribs until you can gradually wean them. And then you introduce them to the way the whole food market would do ribs with, and they are much smaller, no chemicals, no binders are in them, until you can wean them to the healthier meats.
So you think you're going to wean folks from South Carolina from ribs,
Now,
pork ribs?
Vegetarianism is so widespread now. Every city you go to, a lot of people are doing it now for healthy living. So now, because of that, we can go into the supermarket and get things that's vegetarian, and it tastes good and it looks good.
Okay, hold that thought. We got to take a break right now. We'll be right back.
Asthma is one of the most common lifelong chronic diseases. 1 in 14 Americans live with asthma, a disease that affects the lungs, causing repeated episodes of wheezing, breathlessness, chest tightness, and coughing. Asthma cannot be cured, but it is possible to manage successfully by knowing the warning signs of an attack, avoiding things that may trigger attacks, and following the advice of your healthcare provider. Let Family Health Centers assist you with your healthcare needs by scheduling an appointment today at 803-531-6900.
WSSB is supported by you and many businesses and nonprofit organizations throughout the Orangeburg community. And when you visit one of the businesses that support WSSB, be sure to thank them for supporting and helping us provide the programming that you rely on each day. And if you own or operate a business, call 803-813-1123 and learn how you can share your message with the WSSB loyal listeners.
Hello, I am Major Kenneth McMacaster, Deputy Chief of Police at South Carolina State University Police Department, and I am your weekly host and producer of Walking the Beat. Now listen to this. These are the sounds of someone taking their eyes off the road. Texting while driving is more than distracting, it's dangerous. Do us all a favor. When you're on the road, stay off the phone as much as possible. Folks, the new law says it is unlawful for a person to use a wireless electronic communication device to compose, send, or read a text-based communication while operating a motor vehicle on the public streets and highways of the state of South Carolina. A person who is suspected or believed to be in violation of the provision of this section must be fined not more than $25, and no part of this fine may be suspended. Folks, texting while driving makes us nearly 3 times more likely to get into a car crash than those who don't. Despite this danger, recent research suggests that 4 out of 5 college students have done so anyway. So folks, choose not to text and try not to be distracted by other electronic devices while driving. Choose to drive in a responsible manner that is safe and free of all distractions. Choose to drive to stay alive, and it will always be a great day in Big Bulldog Land. This is Major Kenneth McMacaster, Deputy Chief of Police at South Carolina State University on WSSB 90.3 on your radio dial.
This is Coach Buddy Pugh. You listen to WSSB 90.3 FM. This is Coach Buddy Pugh. When I'm out and about, I listen to radio station 90.3 FM.
Welcome back. I'm Kathy Andrews, and you're listening to Your Health Matters. I'm talking with Dr. Riddle and Miss Jones with Family Health Centers. And we're talking about food, what to eat, what not to eat. We're talking about vegetarians and meat lovers out there. We got a lot of meat lovers. And just what's good for us, because we know in South Carolina we've got some problems. We've got heart disease and stroke, high rates of stroke and heart disease and cancer. And a lot of that has a lot to do with what we put in our bodies. So give me some tips on a healthy diet. What is a healthy diet?
A healthy diet I would recommend to everyone, if you are already past the 21-year-old range, I would recommend to individuals that they stay in between 16 to 1,800 calories. If they're a little heavier, excessively obese, the caloric intake may be a little lower than that, but never below 1,200 less calories, because once you start getting below 1,200, you are depleting your vitamins and minerals. Also, another tip would be to look at portion sizes, because like was discussed earlier, 20 years, 40 years ago, plate sizes were smaller. They were like 6-7-inch plates. Today, you can buy plates at the store that's anywhere from 10 to 12 inches. So I recommend individuals to go buy the divided plates, and they're about the size, about a 6 or 8 inch, or something like a salad plate to eat out, to control your portion control, and eat meat only twice a day. And I highly recommend, even if you are not a vegetarian, I tell a lot of my patients, eat a vegetarian dish at least once or twice a week.
And why can't we have meatless Mondays? A lot of people have meatless Mondays. Exactly. That's the start, of less meat. You're helping out the environment. Yeah. Dr. Riddle, I don't know if you want to mention this, but you were telling me the story about pork, but for folks who eat pork, I won't say anything, but I grew up with a pet pig named Jackie, so I don't eat pork. But it's not a good thing eating pork, because there's a lot of bacteria in pork, and you don't want to talk about it. That's fine. What kind of toxins?
You have trichinosis, which actually is in the pork muscle, and you have to cook it extremely well. You almost have to burn it to really cook it right to get rid of the trichinosis.
And so what kind of diseases can one get from eating pork?
It can go into your heart muscles. It can go into your knee joints, and some people walking around with arthritis, and it could be due to trichinosis there.
From eating all the pork.
Yeah.
So what are some healthy foods that you can buy on a budget?
Well, I think vegetable, if you have to look at the periphery of the supermarket, we have the cabbage, we have our lettuce, we have the carrots, and you have to probably start thinking out of the box, because all these can be done in a way that it can taste like meat. You can cook cabbage in a nice way with your onions and everything, and you use it as a part of your meat. You can have that with beans, and you can have it with other things. So it's a matter of fact, maybe you can even go online. Now everybody's so computer savvy, and get recipes for what you can do with vegetables. You can do things with spinach. You can do casserole. You can make casserole from cabbage, or you can make casserole from spinach or broccoli. You can use broccoli as a type of mashed potatoes. You put that cauliflower.
But what if you don't want to take the time? Is there a TV dinner I can buy? Can I eat lean cuisine and lose weight?
No.
Can I go to Weight Watchers and lose weight? I'm not going to take a cauliflower or a broccoli and go home and I'm sorry. When I get home, I'm going to sit in front of the TV, and I might pick up a bag of potato chips. Okay? So tell me what I can do to make my life easier, because I've got a thing in my kitchen that says Martha Stewart does not live here. Okay? So tell me what I can do. What can I eat from the grocery store I can pick up and eat and it be healthy?
Well, you can make a salad. So you don't have to cook it. So you have salad, which you can just have to wash it. You put your tomatoes. You can put some nuts, almond nuts. You can put some fruits like strawberries, and you can even make your own dressing. But if you don't want to make your own dressing, you could use an Italian dressing with olive oil in there, and that is extremely good. And then you can have fruit for your dessert. And then you can have maybe a cup of tea or lemonade and use stevia sugar.
And then you can make, if you're a person that really has to have some type of meat, then you may want to stick on the side where you're getting a salmon steak, something that takes 5 minutes to grill in the oven or in the microwave.
I'm sorry, but salmon does not taste like ribs.
I understand that.
You know what? How are you going to make a salmon taste like a rib?
You can make a salmon taste like a rib because what you can do is add some extra virgin olive oil. All this stuff can be bought in the Dollar Tree. Extra virgin olive oil, put you a tiny bit of barbecue sauce on it, add you some fresh oranges or lemon.
Well, I'm coming to your house then. I'm coming to your house.
You're more than welcome.
Now, what's a good fat and a bad fat? Now, we've heard there are good fats and bad fats.
Well, when they speak of good fats and bad fats, they're talking about something called a saturated fat and an unsaturated fat. The easiest way I let patients know to understand it is a saturated fat, if you put it out on the table at room temperature, the saturated, which is considered the not so healthy fat, it will become hard at room temperature. So that's when you're looking at your Crisco, lard, butters, and things like that. Unsaturated fat usually comes from your plant sources. So when it's room temperature, it'll be liquid. So that's when you're looking at your healthier oils, like your olive oils, your canola oils, sometimes some of your safflower oils and things like that.
Okay. Well, all right. Well, I'm coming to your house because I'm I don't know the difference between a good fat and a bad fat. But now, is there a TV dinner I can buy that's good for you?
I have not recommended that because I don't eat TV dinners.
You don't eat TV dinners? You don't microwave or anything like that? Is microwaving bad?
I do microwave, but I don't think it's good.
You gave your microwave away?
Yeah, I don't use a microwave at all.
Good for you. We are running out of time, but we had a good discussion today with Dr.
Summarize it, right?
Okay. Dr. Patricia Riddle, is there a last word about nutrition?
Well, nutrition, I think you should look at your labels, look at sugar contents and carbohydrate contents, look at your fiber. If you want to know how much carbohydrates you'll be taking in, you subtract your fibers from your carbohydrates, and that would be the amount of carbohydrates you'll be taking in. Sugar is very important because a lot of times we think that the fats that we're eating are going to make us fat, but the sugar tends to make us fat more. I would try to encourage people to do whole wheat products, whole grain, instead of the refined carbohydrates. I would encourage individuals to walk. That's a poor man's gym. And we should walk as much as we can. We should actually do at least 10,000 steps a day. It doesn't necessarily that you have to exercise. Even cleaning your house, walking around in your house, walking in your yard, going to your kitchen. You'll count those steps. So I think those are my, my encouragement to people out there who like to lose some weight and who also like their sugars, their diabetes, and their hypertensive to be actually under control.
Okay.
And my word of advice, individuals need to understand this is just not an individualized issue when we're looking at obesity and all the other high chronic diseases that's causing billions of dollars. It's a public health issue. So I think, too, we have to look at our politicians, our healthcare professionals, and we have to find a way to allow our needed individuals who need the services the most. We need to find a way for them to be able to pay for these healthier items, such as the fruits and vegetables. We need to make accessibility and availability for them. And on top of that, what I'm learning, a lot of people do not know how to cook now in the sandwich generation.
Amen.
So we are going to have to go out and enhance more cooking and teaching skills. And then I think the quality of life will improve when we're not looking at quantity of life.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. And you can make an appointment with Ms. Princetta Jones or Dr. Riddle by calling Family Health Centers at 803-531-6900. Remember, your health matters. I'm Kathy Andrews, and thank you for listening.